I hurt my wife during foreplay and don't know how to help her regain her confidence. Sorry about the long post, I need some advices and also to vent. I really love my wife, but I'm afraid that I had unwittingly damaged something between us. Please be kind in your comments. This is the first time I post and I'm sincerely looking for guidance. My wife and I've been together for 7 years, married for 3. I'm 34 and she's 27. When we first met she was a virgin, she was 20. We were best friends before we became romantic. I had prior sexual experiences but none of my girlfriends was as good as my wife. One of them was sexually and could not enjoy sex. The other was interested in receiving pleasure but showed no interest in pleasing me. My wife is far more responsive and creative sexually, even though she didn't have any experience before me. I'm usually the one who initiates, which I don't mind, since I had more experience. She enjoys being pursued and is turned on by my passion. She is a wonderful partner both in life and in sex. We are compatible in many if not all areas. She is my lover, best friend and soulmate. I know it's a cliche to say that, but it's true. We usually have sex 3x a week. Well, something went terribly wrong recently. It was totally my fault. A couple weeks ago during our foreplay, I was showing my wife how to touch me since I was usually the one who initiated. She wanted to know what arouses me. She has always been an enthusiastic learner and I love that. When I was moving her hand around my crotch, I accidentally said my first GFXX used to do this. Stupid and idiotic me should have just said this feels a slip of the tongue. She was bothered, but didn't say anything. When I went down on her I could tell she was no longer in the mood, so I asked her what was wrong. Did I hurt her feeling when I mentioned my ex? She suddenly bursted into tears and locked herself up in the bathroom. I kept knocking on the door and wanted to talk, but she was just crying. I felt so bad and was literally begging her to talk to me. Eventually she came out. I immediately hugged her and apologized. She wouldn't talk to me. I kept asking her to communicate. She finally said in tears that I was always comparing her to my first GF, which is not true. That relationship ended years ago, before I met her, and she is far more compatible with me than any woman I ever dated. That was why I married her. She said I once mentioned that my first GF had the nicest body among the women I dated. I did say that years ago when my wife and I were friends, before we started dating. But after we got married I always told my wife that she's the prettiest and sexiest girl, and I meant every word I said. She then said, as ridiculous as it sounds, perhaps I should have married someone like my first GF. What the? I'm still pissed that she even said that who had more experience and not someone like her who was a virgin. I told my wife that even though my first GF had more experience, my wife is actually a better lover. She is gifted in giving massages and BJ. She has good orgasms and really knows her own body. Whereas my first GF could never come cause she was sexually as a kid. I also told my wife I loved that she was a virgin. She was my virgin whom I would cherish for the rest of my life. I even said that she was my dream girl, a virgin who is a good lover. But she seemed shut down emotionally, no matter what I said. She did not talk to me again that night. That worries me cause she is an excellent communicator. One of the most valuable traits in our relationship is our honesty/communication. When I told her about my past relationships while we were dating, she never seemed jealous. Those were years before I met her, so I was frankly shocked at the strong reaction she had that night. The next day she seemed better and was talking to me again, but we didn't have sex that week. Fast forward to a week ago, we had a great discussion about the books we read and I was feeling intimate. I complimented how great she looked in her summer dress and started to kiss her. She responded, but when I pulled down her shoulder straps to kiss her neck, she loves to have her neck kissed, she said stop. This was the first time in 7 years she ever rejected me. I realized what happened the other night impacted her more than I thought. I wanted to talk, but she didn't. She said she was just not in the mood. I asked why. She said she is tired of me treating her like a porcelain doll. What the? I asked her to elaborate. She said I once said not again. She was so delicate that I was afraid to hurt her. I did say that when we first made love, but I meant it in a positive way. I adored her super smooth skin, plus that was 7 years ago, for Pete's sake. I told her that I wouldn't been her so passionately all these years if I thought of her like a porcelain doll, to which she did laugh. I took that as a green light, so I kissed her passionately, preparing to prove my point, but she pushed me away. What the? I know I made a terrible mistake by accident. I hurt my wife's feeling, perhaps even her self-confidence in the bedroom, which I truly regret. I understand her insecurity as I'm her first and only man. I do cherish her and would never dream of hurting her intentionally. It was a slip of the tongue and I would take it back 1,000 times if I could. I want her to know that I never compared her to anyone, and if I did, she would always come out on top. We haven't had sex for 2 to 3 weeks, which is alarming given that we usually had it 3x a week. All other things around the house seem fine. She's fine if I hold her, kiss her or caress her. But if I touch her in a sexual way, even though she doesn't reject me, she looks sad or afraid. I thought she doesn't want me to treat her like a porcelain doll, but if I'm trying to be sexual, she looks sad. What the? I'm utterly confused. What happened to my fun and passionate wife? I'm beginning to worry that this had damaged her more than I thought. I love her so much. It literally hurts my heart. I have chest pain when I think about how I have hurt her, even I didn't mean to. I'm also upset that she is blowing this out of proportion. It was just a careless sentence. She's a generous and forgiving person. She's mature for her age. Her friends see her as a mentor in many areas. I don't understand why this bothered her so much that she couldn't get over it, even after I assured her that I love her and that she's the only one I want to spend the rest of my life to have sex with. It almost seems like that stupid little sentence had taken away her desire and confidence, which makes me anxious and worried. How can I mend the situation? Any suggestion will be greatly appreciated. I need some constructive advices, not criticism or negativity. I already feel bad enough. I know my wife loves me and doesn't want to feel this way. How do I help her to feel better? Thank you for putting up with such a long post. See a marriage counselor. Stat. This is not a normal reaction to a boneheaded comment. We've all put our foot in our mouths or hurt our feelings before. But for there to be this bigger reaction, there is a much bigger problem going on. Maybe you've done a lot more crappy things than you realize. Maybe she's under some stress or is being unreasonable. I'm not trying to place blame, but this is a big problem. I agree that this is not a normal reaction. That's why I'm worried. Maybe I have done or said something before that made her feel insecure to begin with. I did talk to one of our friends who happens to be a marriage counselor. He offered to see us if my wife is up to it. He did said that perhaps my wife has some issues about our sex dynamics, and this is just one way it surfaced. Yes, we should look into it. Don't go to your friend. That is a conflict of interest. If you're serious about repairing the damage done, find a therapist. You don't know. Your friend, no matter how professional, will have a bias. I second this. I'm going to be a little bit blunt here. You were her at the moment, and you did the right thing and apologized. But you are rushing her healing process, and thereby being her again. She is feeling inferior right now. Everything you do right now, to her, feels like you're trying to make up for something. Work at building her up, not at getting sex. Give her attention without expectation, and wait for her to make a move. This is the way. Thank you. I thought I was being patient, since it has been a couple weeks, but you're right, I rushed her. She was definitely not ready, and I need to respect that. I love her, and I'm willing to give her whatever time she needs to heal. I feel like there is more going on. Talk to her. Ask her to help you understand what is causing her so much pain. Don't ask for sex. Use your energy to find out why she is so hurt. And most importantly, how you can prevent that situation in the future. A couples coach would really help. Maybe she is shy/scared to be honest with you. I'm sure she feels unseen and misunderstood. So another person's presence could give her courage to talk openly. I could be wrong, but I think this is about something else to her. Your comment might have just sparked something that was building up. I wouldn't rush her healing process or rush to have sex again. I know it's been a while, but try to be patient. From what you said, I don't think either of you are in the wrong, but this situation does seem like the start of something serious. I would see a therapist if talking on your own isn't working. I would also consider that, because you are her first sexual partner, she hasn't had to get over someone before you. She might understand that past partners come to mind, but she doesn't know what that's like. As the less experienced one, she has a reason to be self-conscious or worried.